Hello, I wanted to share with you about the final project in the course, which might seem like a ways away, but good to get started now. So if you scroll on down at the bottom of the class, you're going to see where it says on Tuesday, December 5th, the final project for this class is due. And this is for all students in 4500 and 5500. If you're also a graduate student who's in 5500, there's an additional paper that you need to do to differentiate the undergraduate and graduate versions, and I'll tell you more about that later. But let's first look at the project that everyone's going to do. Educators need to understand students' perspectives and conceptual structures to help create a classroom that is supportive of students in general and fosters their growth of conceptual understanding. So we're going to be creating a mini PowerPoint that's going to be looking at data you collect of questions that you ask students about how they learn and about a specific topic. So this PowerPoint is going to contain background information on the course of interest. So if you're in LA, that's the course you are in LA in. If you're not in LA, we'll find a class for you. It's going to include survey data from students about their perspectives and conceptual structures. It's going to have your interpretation of the data and your reflections on the implications. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this in a little more detail. All right, so if we click on this link, we're going to get some more information on the project. And if you click on that, let me move this over. Here's what you're going to see. First of all, for students who are in CAS 4500, this will be 20% of your final grade. If you're in 5500, since you have two projects, it'll be 10% and the other will be 10%. Here's that background I was just telling you about. So let's look at what that survey is going to be. We looked at questions back in the activity, questions to better understand student learning. That was in Moodle, and I had everybody write 2 to 4 questions on sort of learning about learning and 2 to 4 questions about content. You might want to use those questions. You might want to talk with your LA instructor and really think about what questions work well for the class. But you're going to be taking questions like that, and that's what the survey is going to be. To do that survey, you're going to talk with the instructor. If you're not in LA, talk with us. And you're going to see if it makes sense to do maybe a 5-minute in-person writing on a piece of paper survey. Maybe you want to do a link to a Google form that you send by email. Maybe you want to make an assignment in Moodle. You choose with the instructor or with us what's going to make the most sense, okay? You can also choose how you're going to be writing those questions. Do you want it to be multiple choice? Do you want it to be ranked choices, like which do they prefer? Short answer? Are they going to be labeling something, doing a calculation? You choose, but you want it to be pretty short, about 5 minutes, so you don't take up too much instruction time or be too much of a burden on students. All right, before you do the survey, you're going to want to talk to the instructor of the class in which you LA, okay? You want to make sure that they're okay with you doing it. You're going to meet with them to talk about maybe what would be the best questions, how are you going to get the best information. You might want to do that during your weekly meeting. So if you're in LA, before you do anything, talk to the instructor you work with. If you're not in LA, before you do anything, come and talk to Dr. Sabella or myself so we can learn about your interests and help you find a class that's going to work well for you to survey, okay? But LA, not LA, we're going to find a class for you to do this. Okay, once we know the class, once you've talked to the instructor and everything is set, you'll go ahead and give that survey. Once you get the data, you're going to make a slide deck. There's only going to be 6 slides. You can do it in PowerPoint and then upload it. You could do it in Google Slides and then give us a link, however you want to do it. But you're going to have 6 slides. Slide 1 is going to provide the context. You know, what class is it? What type of students take this class? Is it gen eds? Is it majors? Majors from other fields like nursing? You know, who takes this? What does a typical day in the class look like? And if you are in LA, what is your role in that class usually? So slide 1 is the context. Slide 2 is going to be your questions. And then you're going to list the questions and then say why you chose it and why it was interesting to you. Slide 3, you're going to take this, after surveying the class, you're going to take the data from the questions on the learning environment, those learning about learning questions. And this is what it might look like. So here are 2 examples from the University of Colorado Boulder. They had students in their pedagogy course do this at the beginning of the term. So here's an example. You can kind of look through how one student in Computing 1 did theirs. Here's another example on a biology class. So those are some examples of what it might look like. Slide 4 is going to be exactly the same, except instead of that student perspective data, this is going to be on how they understand a concept. You know, what types of things were they getting right? Where were they having problems? Do they understand things in the same way or different ways? Things like that. All right. Slide 5, you're going to interpret the data. So what does the data about students' perspectives say about the role of the LA? About the structure of the course, improvements that could be made to the course environment. What does the data say about how students are understanding key concepts? What does this say about student learning? So slides 3 and 4, boom, there's the data. Slide 5, tell me what the data means. And then slide 6, you're going to reflect on the data and interpretation. So you can reflect on what you have learned. For example, what are the implications for the structure of the course? Things that should be kept. Things that should be changed. What impact might it have on how you would serve as an LA in the future? If you're not an LA, how might your interpretation help a future LA in the course? How do the results relate to the readings we've done in class? What was interesting about this process and reflecting on it, etc. So sort of this is your time to reflect on what this means in the context of the course that we're doing. And then finally the grade. We're just going to do the percentages for the final project. 15% for slide 1, 15% for slide 2, slides 3 and 4, 20%, and then 15% for slides 5 and 6. All right, so that is the whole final project. You're doing those questions and you're just putting them onto those slides. You don't have to present the slides, just upload them. It's an online class. It's a little difficult for us to present, so we're not gonna worry about that. And then you'll just upload your slides or the link to your Moodle slides right here. Again, if you have any questions about the process, please talk to us. We are happy to review questions with you, to help you think about data, anything like that. And if you are in LA, make sure that you talk to your instructor as soon as possible so that you can go ahead and talk with them about good questions and get that survey out. And again, if you're not in LA, come talk to us as soon as possible. Okay? I think I'm really looking forward to this project. I think it'll be really interesting about taking a lot of these ideas that we've had, that we've been looking at in general, and really having specific data to interpret it in the specifics of the classes and context right here at Chicago State. So I'm really looking forward to this project. I hope you find it interesting and worthwhile too.